afternoon, my very special guest, Opal Lee. How are you, my friend?
Good afternoon, Vernon. I'm doing very well, and good afternoon as well to your listeners.
Oh, it's great to have you. I wonder what's on your mind today, Opal.
Oh my goodness, lots going on. Well, there is in Florida here, I think our governor just passed where a new resolution where he's going to be building a new facility to host immigrants, and it's going to be surrounded by gators, alligators in the Everglades. So it's just, there that's definitely on my mind
So
because I
hold
mean
on,
they're
let me ask you
treating
who those
the
alligators,
immigrants
who
as
those
though they're
alligators
no
will
one.
be. You, Opal? I'm just wondering
It's
who those.
right, but Florida, I understand, but Florida is well known, especially in the Everglades, as having, as being the home of a lot of alligators. And so I think the property that they're using is an old it's an abandoned Air Force field. And
Okay.
so Ron DeSantis, they've already started using that. They've already started building. So basically, it's going to be surrounded. So if anybody tries to escape, if any of the immigrants try to escape, I guess they're saying, guess what? Alligators will get them, or it will maybe dissuade them from even
So the
trying
punishment
to escape.
for illegal immigrants who try to get
Hmm.
away is to be eaten by alligators.
I guess you could say it that way, Vernon.
Well,
But it's very disheartening to even that we've come to this.
Well, it's the world. We have seen mankind do many things in the past, so anything is possible. That is very, very interesting, and I'm not happy about that at all. It's
Yeah.
amazing. But life goes on.
And we're
I,
seeing, correct, and we're seeing anybody who has been coming into the United States and have filed for asylum claim, meaning they're saying that they have credible fear of being persecuted if they should return to their home country. We're
mhm,
seeing the Department of Homeland Security, they're dismissing or removing them from removal proceedings and just putting those people into detention and summarily removing them from the United States. So it's a fast track removal, and so maybe it's a warning to, your listeners. If you guys don't think or remember, as I think I've stated
mhm,
before on this program, that if you're just seeking to leave your home country just for financial hardship, don't do
mhm.
it. It is not worth it. You need to have a credible fear of being persecuted because maybe you are in a particular social class and you're being um, persecuted
Yes.
as a result of membership in that class. And so if you don't think or if you don't have evidence to show that you are indeed more likely than not to be granted asylum, don't even do it because it's going to be a fast track removal from the United States. And the not only that, but just how the reported treatment of people that
Mhm.
are in detention, the alleged deplorable states. You don't really want to leave your home country to, to find yourself in a situation like that.
Mark my word, the day will come when the other countries will come knocking at the door. We need some workers, factory workers, farm workers. That day will come. Right. Now, I got a message from someone. It says, I attend a J1 professional exchange visitor U.S. non-immigrant visa appointment at the U.S. Embassy in Kingston, Jamaica. At the consular section, I had received a white slip of paper stating that my U.S. visa application was approved, just to wait for an email confirmation, 4 to 5 days for pickup. I had received an email Monday morning from the U.S. Embassy stating that additional documentation were required. However, they were not specific as to what documentation was required or needed. When I checked my visa status, it stated refusal. On Tuesday, I received a follow-up email stating that my visa application, along with instructions for additional documentation, were available for pickup at the counter service. Upon receiving the documents, there was my passport along with a big slip of paper stating that the documents that were needed included a new passport size photo because the one they had on file was too dark and with my passport. I'd mailed both documents on the same day and received a confirmation email that my documents were received at the courier service. On checking my visa status, the status changed from refusal to administrative processing. How would you look at that one, Opal?
Right, so that's normal. And so administrative processing just means that they're reviewing now that they have received the requested
Mhm.
information or documents. And then that person just needs to just sit tight and just await the processing by the US Embassy.
Right. So it means
And they could
therefore,
always
yes,
email, correct. And they could also email, they could go ahead and follow up with the US Embassy. Of course,
yes.
give them a few days or weeks,
Mhm.
and then just follow up and said, I submitted the required documentation. Would you kindly provide me with an update?
For visa type like that, you can probably just remind us what that J1 visa is. Is it J1 I said? Yes.
Right. It's a J1. It's like an exchange program. A lot of people in the hotel industry uses a J1. Teachers, especially a lot of teachers,
Yes.
use a J1 as well. Where, one thing that I do not like about the J1 though, even is that some of them, most times than not, it has that foreign residency requirement on it, which means
Mhm.
if you enter the United States, you can't then see if it has that requirement on there, you will not be able to adjust in the United States. Let's say you have a family member, or you fall in love with a US citizen and you wanted
Right.
to go ahead and adjust your status. You will not be able to do that. You'd have to return to Jamaica or your country of origin for at least 2 years, spend 2 years before you can re-enter and adjust your status. And then unless you get a waiver of that requirement, but it's really for you to go there and do an exchange. You can work sometimes or do schooling with that J1 visa.
That's very interesting. You have to come back home for 2 years. Oh
If you
boy.
have that if it has that
Hmm.
restriction on there.
So if you decide, if you fall in love and decide to get married, you cannot get a spousal visa under 2 years. So,
Right, you'd have to leave the US, go back home. So it's going to be separated from your
hmm,
spouse unless you had received that waiver. And of course, it's
yes.
a process where you'd have to pay for that
Hmm.
waiver, and there's no guarantee it will
Right.
be approved. Whereas if you had entered with a regular visiting visa, for example, a tourist visa, or
Hmm.
maybe another work visa like a H-2B, there's no bars to adjusting your status in the United States
Good.
because you don't
So
have that restriction.
here, Vernon, very creative mind now. And I'm sure you're going to tell me that, Vernon, you're
Uh-oh.
talking absolute rubbish. Now, if you get a visa like that and you have to return to Jamaica for 2 years, by that time, the lovely lady has found another gentleman. 2 years
Oh
is too much of a
no.
long wait.
Oh, come on, Verna. Not because you're separated from your spouse for 2 years, you must go elsewhere.
No, but 2 years is a long time,
And
you
of
know.
course, I mean, remember the other spouse? I know, but what's stopping the other spouse who's a US citizen from visiting you? And by the way, when I said leave, they don't necessarily have to go back to Jamaica, they just have to leave the United States. So this couple can, meet up anywhere else,
So
Mexico,
hold
another
on.
Caribbean
They can't,
island, see
what they're
each
saying,
other.
hmm they can't even come there for one day. The
You
person
just have
can't
to
even visit.
leave the US.
But if you leave the US and say you go back
Right,
to
but you
visit
just
for
have
2 days, would that be treated
right,
as,
and you can do that too. No, you can, but it's just that
oh,
when
so you
we add
can
up
come
all the
back and you
time
can
that you
get
have
a
spent
visitor's
out
visa?
and
Okay.
spend right and spend, but you just will have to, when they add up all the times, you would have to spend at least 2 years outside the United States before you're able to adjust.
I see what you mean. Boy, may I tell you, 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 you,
Mhm.
you nearly trumped me with that one a while ago.
Yes, no
Right,
pun
what else?
intended.
Oh, no pun intended. Oh, definitely not.
Because you said Trump the person. Okay.
Yes, yes. That's why I have you lawyers on this program. You're not here just for your name. You're here to protect me and others too. And that is why I keep reminding listeners, when you feel like, say, I'll spend no money, let's go find one, your neighbor. Your neighbor will mislead us to you. So go on. Hear from the professionals. very unlikely that a professional will be wrong. No, they have their professional status to maintain. We have another 3 minutes. Is there any other point you want to mention, or if you want to just well, we have enough time. Any other point you want to mention, and then you can tell us how we can make contact with you.
Right. And for those of you who are in Jamaica, just know that the U.S. Embassy, starting July 1, has the exchange rate for the visiting visa. It's now 165 to 1. That's for the DS 160. It's now
What?
165, correct, Jamaican dollars to
165
one
to
US
1.
dollars. Correct. Starting on July 1.
And by the way, that exchange rate is not tied to the exchange rate international. They just set their own exchange rate.
Well, they gave an explanation saying, it's for cost and to be more uniform. But just so you know, if you're going to be paying
Mm,
your application fee, it's now 165 to 1,
I hear
starting
you.
July 1. All right, so my information, it's Opal Lee, and the phone number in Jamaica is 876-854-3599. That's 876-854-3599. In the United States, it's 954-358-2020. That's 954-358-2020. Or you may connect with us on Instagram or Facebook at Flowjam Legal. That's FLOJAMLEGAL. Thanks, Vernon, and have yourself a wonderful rest of the day.
Well, Opal, next week you can follow what's happening in terms of the war there in the Middle
Sure.
East. I wonder what is going to happen if the exchange rate is 160 odd. Can you imagine when oil prices go because of the conflict down there with Iran in the mix right now? So it's Iran, Israel, Hamas, and other groups might get involved. I tell people I don't think
Sure.
it will become a world war, no, but one thing will be sure, it will have worldwide effect, and it has started already. So,
Of
more to
course.
come. Interesting days are ahead. It's amazing we continue to fight for the power and the glory, and the earth is looking at us and say, ha, 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 I shall consume them all, and they'll all leave me here spinning at the same speed, and they'll all soon become a part of this mighty earth. What a life. Take care. Hopefully, have a wonderful day.